Hi everyone, welcome to the Cavalier Sports Report. I'm your host, Rob Ladd. Last year, the men's basketball team celebrated a kind of up and down season, and they welcome a lot of new players next year in the form of a pretty big recruiting class. We're joined now by head coach Mike Jeffers. Coach Jeffers, thanks for being with us this morning.
Good morning, Rob. Good to be here.
Yeah, let's start off and let's talk about the sophomores that are going to depart away from Johnson County. You had sophomore DJ Luster, who came in at the semester and made a pretty big impact, put up a lot of points, especially from long range. And let's talk about Hayden Potts and Kyle Speed, two big-time leaders for your team.
Yeah, we lose three sophomores that were very instrumental in the success our team had. I thought we were really, by the end of the year, this team was playing probably about as good as they could play. Considering the people we lost during the year to injuries, to academics, to all different scenarios. The team that we finished with those 9 guys and probably playing about 7, we weren't real deep. They were playing really well at the end of the year. I mean, you just look at what we did at home with Coffeyville and Highland at the end of the year and how much better we played at Brown Mackey in the playoffs. And all that, I think you go back and you start with Kyle Speed, a 3-year guy that battled through an ACL injury in the middle of those 3 years. What tremendous impact he's had on this program. I think our program and our school have had tremendous impact on him. We lose Kyle. He was an all-conference guard both years he played. He's going to Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, full ride. It's a very good situation for him. Hayden Potts, I think if you watched Hayden last year as a freshman and this year, by far our most improved player in the program. And he had a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations on him, especially second semester. Where, you look around, he's 6'2", 6'3", the biggest guys on the floor with him. And then for him to finish out the way he did at the end of his sophomore year, he's going to Bethany out in central Kansas, which is a lot closer to his home. He had a lot of other D2 and NAI type offers, but it's where he wanted to be. And then DJ Luster, who came in at semester, averaged 20 points a game, made first team all conference. He's going to Lewis University back in Illinois, up closer to Chicago, to his home. He's been away from home now for a year and a half. And I think with him, his decision came down to, well, it's closer to home. His parents, his family can actually get to see him play. So, we've got three tremendous, guys that really impacted our program. But I think, with the coach, the work Coach Ryan Morley's done, our whole staff did this year in the recruiting process, so we got a big class coming in. We do as far as numbers, and we do as far as size, too.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about first Hayden Potts. What do you tell a kid when you basically you're already kind of limited on your roster as far as the bigs go? You mentioned beyond 6'3", you had basically 3 guys on the roster. You're going to lose 2 of them at the semester break. What do you tell to a guy like Hayden Potts? You're going to have to be on the court pretty much all the time. How do you place the expectations on a kid like him?
Yeah. Well, with Hayden, you know what you're going to get. He's going to work hard. He's going to really get in there and battle. He really, over the 2 years he was here, really kind of changed his body. He was a lot stronger his sophomore year. Early in the year, Hayden, we knew he about 24, 25 minutes a game. It was that less is more. The less minutes, the quality minutes he could play, the more you would get out of him. Early in the year, we tried to stretch him out, the 32, 33 minutes a game. He would go from averaging 12 points, 8 rebounds to 4 points, 5 rebounds. The more we stretched him out early in the year, he couldn't handle it. But by second semester, of the minutes he's played, the experience he got, he was really, really able to handle being stretched out. Maybe it might be like a pitcher. Early in the year, you're going, 80, 90 pitches with a starter. By the end of the year, he's probably going 110, 120 pitches. Same thing with Hayden. By early in the year, he wasn't physically and mentally capable of handling that many minutes, but by the end of the year, he was. And, he produced. Double-doubles against Coffeyville and Highland down the stretch. And, he really, kind of stepped up and met that challenge.
Well, Hayden's going to move on, and that leaves a pretty big void on your roster. But as you mentioned, and I'm looking at your recruiting class, you're bringing in, I think, 5 guys that are 6'5" or taller. Talk a little bit about the bigs that we'll be seeing next year as freshmen.
We've got, I'll start with our biggest guy, and that's Melvin Turner, 6'8", kind of a 3-4 combo forward. We got a lot of versatility on the front line with this class coming in, guys that can play the small forward or the big forward spot. Nick Bowler is probably our only true post that we've signed, 6'7", 230 young man out of Blue Valley North. This past year, his senior year, was probably the only year he'd really committed to basketball. He was a baseball player prior to that and had an injury that probably, probably ended his college baseball career. He might have been more of a college prospect up until his senior year. Had an injury that kind of pushed him more toward basketball. He gives you good size on that front line. Then you've got Melvin Turner, like I said, from Lee Summit West, 6'8", combo forward. You got Tony Jones from Raymore Peculiar. They had one of the biggest turnarounds in the city this year. At one point in time, they were undefeated and ranked #1 in the 5A in Missouri. And Tony actually was a first-team All-State selection for Ray-Pec. 6'5", just a very solid player. And you've got Courtney Jones and Ryan Cunningham out of Chicago. Ryan's between 6'6", 6'7", depending on if you're going to measure him in his shoes or barefooted. A lot of potential, a lot of upside. Courtney Jones, 6'5", out of Homewood Flossmoor in Chicago, school that produced Julian Wright that went to KU. This is a high school program that every year you can just look at any recruiting report and they've got players at Homewood Flossmoor. And he's probably the most skilled front court player we've got coming, a little more polished. So we've got, those 5 guys right there that are going to compete for playing time on that front line, along with, Ross Elrich and Adam Coatney, who was a 6'9" redshirt this year for us.
Let's talk a little bit about the guard position now. You've got the potential, well, and really leadership, I guess, maybe is where we should move to, because you are going to be such a young team, but you're going to bring in 2 transfers, as well as, a couple of your guards back, like, a guy like Ryan Mogjosh. How important is it going to be for some of those guys to step into a leadership role right off the bat for you next season?
I think Ryan Mogjosh will give us some of that leadership. It's going to be more, he's not as much, it'll be interesting to see if he steps up with his vocal leadership. He's more of a guy, from what I've seen in his freshman year, that's just goes to the gym and works, goes to the weight room and work. I don't think we've had a player, and we've had some guys working pretty hard this spring, but I don't know that there's anybody that I've seen that's worked as hard in the weight room and doing the off-season workouts that he's putting himself through to get ready for next year. So he'll be a little bit more of a leadership by example, kind of like a Chris Lawler was for us in 2000 to 2002, then went to Auburn. So he'll be more of just a quiet leadership and lead by example. It will be interesting to see, as our dynamics of our team develops, who will be the vocal leader on the floor. I think last year with us, Kyle Speed gave us some vocal leadership, but I think once DJ Luster got acclimated, he gave us a little more of the vocal leadership down the stretch. But yeah, our guards coming in are Jordan Honore and Ryan Orell. They both are transferring from Kansas Newman. They're like a lot of high school kids. They go to a 4-year school and they think they're going to play a whole lot as freshmen, and it just didn't work out. So now they want to play. They've still got juniors and seniors that, if they were returned to Newman, in front of them, so their playing time is probably still about the same. And that's the one thing as far as playing in a junior college, you can compete against other 18, 19, 20-year-old guys, and you got a better chance to play. And Jordan Honore is a little bit different point guard than what we've had the last 2 or 3 years, in that, you heard the term water bug. He's kind of a water bug point guard, more of a transition-oriented point guard, really fast, really quick. Jordan's out of Stafford, Texas. So it'll be interesting to see how our guys adjust to play with him. Ryan Orell is a 6'3", combo, 2-guard, good shooter. Will give us a little, I think Ryan probably will give us some vocal leadership. That's kind of the role we're looking for, maybe some expectations from him. Having been at a 4-year school, has a little bit of experience, him and Jordan, and then they're familiar with each other. So that really helps from that standpoint. And then Marcus Ray, a guard out of Lawrence, Kansas, that's kind of a young senior graduating, and actually is young enough he could be going back for his senior, another year of high school because of his age. It'll be interesting to see, how quickly he can acclimate himself to this level of competition.
Well, I know you're anxious to get these guys in the gym, Coach. Thanks for being with us this morning, and good luck when you get next season started.
Right.